Being a law-abiding citizen in Canada is actually a lot more complicated than you might think. Canada was founded on July 1st, 1867, and in the following 153 years, from John A. Macdonald to Justin Trudeau, Canada has had some interesting laws actually make it into the Constitution. For example, whistling in public could have gotten you into jail in 1990. A whistle ban may seem odd at first, but historically speaking, it is not totally unheard of. During the First World War, when the British government was constantly under the threat of attack, their solution was the Defense of the Realm Act. Among other things, the Defense of the Realm Act made it illegal for people to whistle in public because a whistle could have been mistaken for an air raid siren. But Canada's 1990 anti-whistle ban has a different backstory. We need to understand how the Canadian legal system works. In Canada, cities and towns don't have their own constitutional status. According to the Canadian Constitution, towns are allowed to enforce their own bylaws. A bylaw is basically a local law that only applies to a certain town or area where the law has been enacted. It is similar to how the legal system works in the United States, where there is the federal government and the local government, whose laws may contradict each other. In Canada, bylaws aren't enforced by the regular police. There are special officers known as bylaw officers that are responsible for implementing these bylaws. The bylaw that was passed made whistling illegal in 1990 in Petroleum. This law was passed when the town saw a massive spike in house parties and struggled to control the noise pollution. It may seem funny now, but it wasn't put in place for no reason. The law fully prohibited whistling, singing, or shouting in the town of Petroleum. A Petroleum city representative stated that this unusual law simply aimed to limit excessive noise between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. But according to Article 3, 772.3.6 on Petroleum's official website, states, quote, yelling, shouting, hooting, whistling, or singing is prohibited at all times. And this clause is still up there today. Brad Loosley, a former town clerk for the Petroleum Administration, said in an interview that the rule covered all sorts of noise pollution, from cars to pets. He added that this anti-whistle clause was added to cover all bases and to ensure that there were no loopholes in the noise pollution law. According to archives, around the same time that this bylaw was drafted in 1990, the city removed almost 3,000 obsolete laws that made no sense. Some of these laws were even weirder than the ban on whistling. Some of these interesting laws were that anyone bringing a horse to the town would have to tie it up first, and that bakers had to pay a surcharge on every loaf of bread. Taber, another small town in Canada, also adopted a similar anti-noise bylaw at the same time. The only difference was that it didn't ban whistling. According to the city officials, no person was allowed to cause or make a loud outcry, shout, sing, or any movement that annoyed another person. Another town in Ontario, the Georgian Bay Township, implemented a ban on whistling and singing in 2018. According to the mayor, there had been multiple complaints regarding noise pollution around Myers Lake, which is why they decided to turn the lake into a 24-hour quiet zone where singing, hooting, yelling, and even whistling was banned. The mayor stated that people use loud stereos that disturb people in the surrounding areas. He noted that even though singing and whistling were banned, it would be rare for a cop to arrest a person for just singing. These laws would only be used in extreme cases. Nonetheless, violators can still be charged a $180 fine for not respecting the law. Thankfully, the whole anti-whistle ban has been partly revoked since 1990. In June of 2017, Justin Trudeau announced that his government was going to start abolishing ancient laws that don't hold value anymore. Even though the anti-whistle ban was partly revoked in 1990, there is still a law in place that prohibits citizens from shouting, whistling, or making any other noise for advertising purposes. Doing so might result in a $250 fine. You're free to whistle all you want today, as long as you're not trying to sell your fish. So next time you're eager to blow a whistle in Canada, don't forget the historical turn of events that prevented you from doing so. Do you think the world should follow Canada's footsteps? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to annihilate the subscribe button, as it would help out the channel a lot.